Now, as we were flipping this record over, let's take a look at this album artwork for Hex Enduction Hour by The Fall. And once again, get a nice DIY hand written um sleeve.
So, yeah, it's busy. You got a lot to work through if you're interested.
It's kind of like a madman scribble. Like it's almost like the conspiracy theorists, like
Yeah, or his
arrows
board,
pointing
yeah.
connections, red lines.
Post-it notes
Uh-huh.
everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
what is that?
Yep, the connection. It looks like they have another one of the. I thought originally this was um another Polaroid. Like they had on a couple of the previous albums, they embed like a photograph into
Which,
the
yeah,
album
onto
art.
it. Hmm.
And this one, it looks like I thought it was, and there was something drawn over the top, but I can't really tell.
No,
It looks like some symbols
it
is
looks like
drawn
almost
on.
a drawing, yeah, because it looks like marker.
Yeah, it
The
does look like
green
marker.
does.
And then it looks like there's symbols, and that almost looks like it's like a hooded to
Hooded fig,
me.
yeah,
Yeah,
hooded
a hooded
figure.
figure, and
It's
then
got
the face is just symbols.
it's got
Uh,
hex.
Hex, yeah,
Got a hex put
it's
on
the
his
hex.
face.
Hmm.
It's the Hexen school. If you follow the arrow, it says Hexen school.
It does say hex in school, and it also says hex in death bubble, which would have been a good alternate title too.
Just have a bleeding guess. It's a good time.
Have a bleeding guess, and then also suits off, jeans on, cigs smoked here. There's so much on here. That's good. Big personality face,
You
flabby
think
wings.
brass tripod?
Brass tripod is beautiful. I like it.
Yeah.
I love those words together. Brass tripod. Nuki boars. I feel like I'm missing some of
Some of the good
the
ones there.
British slang. I mean, I feel like I need to have some of the
Understand where
yeah,
it's at. Um, yeah, what they mean by everything.
yeah.
Second hand old US ideas.
uh, chummy lifestyle. I mean, I got it. I I want it to be less all kind of weird cultish witchcraft or like paranormal kind of related text because some of this stuff is like a high schooler's inside jokes, which which is fine too. But I just really want the concept album so bad from them, and they're not giving it to me. Which, of course, they're not going to give it to you that easily.
Yeah, you never know. Like, was this just all written out over
Yeah,
time? Where did they sit down? Yeah, it seems like they
yeah,
just added on to it as, oh, that's funny. Write it down on
it
the
does,
album.
it does, it does for sure. It looks like a page of his notebook, of Mark's notebook, and then even there's an edge to it on the top where he's like
Yeah.
colored, which looks like the top of it, and then maybe they just filled in the rest. I do like the that he wrote the 1 hour in parentheses across the top. And the text is good too. It's basic, but it's good. I like the colors. Overall, it's good. I read too that the some stores, some UK record stores wouldn't put it in the front of the racks. They said they'll only stock this album in the back of the rack because they thought the album art was just I don't know if vulgar is the word, but visually vulgar. It
Sure.
wasn't appropriate for their record shop to have that on the front, so they would stock it they agreed that they would stock it in from back to front.
It's always in the back.
It's always in the back. Go find it. I kind of like that though. That's kind of cool. You tell your fans, yep, it's going to be in the back. You got to go get it, go find it. You got to pull some push all the other shit aside, go to the back, grab one of those.
It's where all the good stuff is, anyways.
Yeah, it is. Go find it.
Flip it over to the backside. You get a nice little collage of some folks.
So the backside.
Get your classical track list.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Reminded, it's an hour again. You get 1 hour of music.
Mark was always very interested in time. In it seemed like in his lyrics, because he has a lot of lyric lines and phrasing that's talking about the amount of time that passed, or we're now we're 10 years in the future. Now we're, now we're 100 years ago. He's like, or there's 500 days that he always has these lines, and I like that he's always been interested in the time aspect.
Yeah, the credits for this are Marky Smith on vocals, tapes, and guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Riley, guitar and keyboards. Craig Scanlon on guitar, vocals, and keyboards. Steve Hanley, bass and vocal. Paul Hanley, drums and guitar. Carl Burns, drums, vocals, tapes. A little bit of Kay Carroll on the vocals and percussions.
Yeah, she plays the glockenspiel apparently. And Carl Burns starts playing the Mark's tapes, which I like too.
Yeah, of course.
He's like, let me just take over the tape playing because I could probably play it on beat better than you, Mark. Mark, you just focus on those words.
We get produced by Richard Mazda and Marky Smith, engineered by Tony Sutcliffe. Tony, the man that knows how to fill up an album.
I'm just seeing this thing that says, Marky Smith said that he wanted the LP's artwork to be a reflection of the content. He explained how he was drawn to cheap and misspelled posters, amateur layouts of local papers, and printed cash and carry signs. That's good. So, as usual, it is intentional.
Which makes it all the better. I mean, if you can tell me that was thought out and thoughtful, then good on you.
Yeah, I like it. So let's get into side B. We already kind of talked about Winter 2. So let's jump into the second track on side B, which is Just Step Sideways.
When what used to excite you does not, like you've used up all your allowance of experiences, head filled with the mass of two well-known people. Last chance. Just step sideways from this world today. Just step sideways round this place today.
So you're gonna walk the line, or you're gonna step sideways?
He's trying to just, kind of get past modern day. It's not appealing to him.
He's always angry about something, and this one at least he's upbeat about it.
It does have a nice strut. Yeah, as you're strutting, you're also taking a little sidestep, and you don't want to step in the shit that is going on around you. There's some good lines in this song too. Just skip out, miss the ice flicks of Bacardi. Just step outside this future world today. Yeah.
Hit those warm back rays. Those lung warm back rays.
Yeah, I like the warm back rays. Yeah, that sounds nice too. He gives a little shout out to Elton John, even though he's saying that the Eastern Bloc is rocking to Elton John. It doesn't seem like that's quite up his alley.
It's a grubby place.
And he's also losing interest in what's around him. So what's he got to do? Just step outside.
step sideways, step outside of this grubby place. Don't lose, just miss your commercial chance. It doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah, this is his outsider mentality, as usual, where he's seeing everything. He's seeing everything that's getting the commercial appreciation, and whether it's his intention or not, he's choosing to go the outsider route, and especially with this album. And maybe this album is kind of the message too, because he's pissed off about how the Rough Trade label support went, that he said, well, this might be my statement, the band statement, that this is the fall, this is all we can be, and this is all you get, so get used to it. And then also Mark said at a couple points, and I don't know if this is true or if he just is revisionist history. He was saying that this might have been the last fall album. He was thinking about ending the fall while they were making this album, and then maybe even after they were finished, he was like, maybe we're done, maybe this is going to be our last kind of go around as far as the fall is concerned, and I'll move on to something else. And I just don't hear that. Well, looking back on it, retroactively, we know that they didn't stop, but it just doesn't sound like they're ready to stop. It just sounds like this is all fresh.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly hitting their musical stride, right? I mean, they're playing off of each other, fantastically well, and it sounds way better. In which maybe it was even more of a play, to Rough Trade. Like, we might not sound exactly the way you want it to, but we can still put out an album that people are gonna enjoy and find some commercial success, whether it doesn't have to be your way or no way.
Yeah, I think that's right, because they were like, we're not the Smiths, the Smiths are making you all this money right now. Or maybe this was right before the Smiths. Well, either way, they felt like they were being slighted. They were being slighted with time, money, everything. So they're like, oh, well, let's just make this record. Let's have this record label that is actually supportive and letting us do whatever we want. Have the benefit of, moving forward and getting a fall album that's turns out to be one of the most interesting and artistic as far as they're concerned, and as far as a lot of fall heads are concerned. That brings us to the age-old question of
who makes the Nazis?
Luckily, Mark knows. He'll tell us.
The answer is clear. If you think about it, the answer is right in front of you.
Is he talking about your favorite version of cow?
Yeah, he kind of loses me with the longhorn breeds. He's just saying they're the most showy, Nazis are the most showy outwardly. So you can always identify them. But who makes them? Everyone. Especially the mediocre intellectual middle class, apparently. From Mark's perspective. The Gronian in this one too is is funny. Yeah, that's good. This is basically a great song that I'm not going to call it a great song, actually. This is a 4.5 minute song that I think if the concept wasn't in place of having exactly an hour long record, I think this is one where you might want to consider cutting this to making it just that first half, the first 2 minutes, because honestly, he's not adding too much in the second half of this one. It's really got the repetition, but he's really doing the name shout outs, and I don't know if it's really adding anything.
Yeah, the repetition, there's not, it's got a nice background, little.
It's hypnotic for sure.
Hypnotic, yeah. Definitely some psychedelic aspects to it. Odd tapes added on throughout that you're just kind of like, huh, where did that come from?
Yep. Some of the lyrics are similar to previous lines and lyrics, like he's got bad bias TV, real mold, real Irish no Joe, intellectual half-wits. Yeah, we get it.
Pedophilia and rapists, and you could definitely see where the album executives might not exactly see eye to eye with Mark and his songs that must be included no matter what.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's why the changeover from Rough Trade to the Camaro Records was the wise decision, as far as he was concerned, with the lack of an editor where they could literally do whatever they wanted. And that's exactly what he wanted. Even though they got a nice payday from Rough Trade, they kind of were like, they're missing something. They're kind of feeling like they were going to get stagnant and started more focused on PR, like you're saying, commercializing the fall, A&R side, and the PR, things that they would have to, hoops they'd have to jump through to make the fall look a certain way, which it might have not been natural. So who makes the Nazis? They all do. Let's get into the other track that was recorded in Iceland, and it's aptly titled Iceland.
A plate steel object was fired, and I did not feel for my compatriots. Hated even the core of myself. Not a matter of ill health, but it was fear of weakness deep in core of myself. The fact's attainment was out of.
Iceland is something that you don't hear too much in the fall discography, and not just for the instrumentation, which we got Mark Riley playing a banjo. We got some kind of what is like free jazz soundscape.
Yeah, it sounds
minimal drums.
Right. Soundscape is right. It's got a very, kind of like you were saying in during winter and winter too. It was very beautiful. It's very relaxing, and
when they do leave so much space, it's just really, it's almost like Marky Smith's lyrics are a spoken word, right? Like a spoken word.
There's several songs where it does sound like spoken word experience, where you should be snapping at the end of it to, oh yes, that was great poetry, Mark. Thank you for coming out today. Really,
this one makes me want to lay down on the floor, just close my eyes, and play it really loud. Like, this is one that actually, it's a soft song, but you should probably play this extra loud. And they said they only played this one time. There's only one take of this song, and they did it and they recorded it, and this is it. And it's this is the song. And then they said, oh, let's try to play it live. And they attempted it a couple times. And they said they never could figure, they could never figure out how to make this work live, which I could also see. I feel like they could have done. I mean, I feel like they could have done it, but I know what they were probably like, we're missing the magic, we're missing the magic that was that one. And he has a shout out in this one, Megas Johnson, who is considered the father of Icelandic rock and roll. And this guy sounds a lot like a Marky Smith of Iceland, because he was very, I guess, informed by consumption of booze and alcohol and drugs, and an outsider, banned from radio, society. And Mark actually, I read that Mark, he actually met him at one of the shows they played in Iceland, or he was introduced to him. But then every time, every time after that, someone would ask him about this. Oh, I heard you met Megas. What was he like? He sounds like an interesting. Mark's like, no, I never met him. Mark is like, no, I never met him. I never talked to him. he totally just is like, no, that never happened. Even though multiple people were like, yeah, he definitely was at the show. They definitely were introduced. It's like, no. So something about the interaction made Mark want to be like, no, that didn't happen. Or maybe he wished it didn't happen.
Right. He saw himself too clearly in the
maybe, yeah. Or maybe it was not up to his expectations of like the guy that he liked his music,
Yeah, sure. Maybe, yeah. Maybe he realized what his future was if he truly stopped the fall after this.
Yeah.
Becoming a dock worker. I don't know if he could have handled that.
Well, I mean, Mark was the dock worker, so that was, parallel.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say
it was the reverse, right? It was they're living reverse trajectories. Mark went on to perform for the rest of his life. This guy went on to stop performing and go work at the docks. Yeah, there might be something there. But he calls him a god, the last of the god men. So he's putting him up there on that pedestal.
They don't look that dissimilar as people.
No? What does he look like? Let me see.
He's still alive.
Still working on the dock.
78. It says he started recording after, again, kind of after this.
Huh.
There's a photo here of him playing in 2011.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in 1983, he kind of came back into it, came out of his...
Dang, maybe we should do one of his albums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we do the double album he released called Plans for Suicide? Is that the entry point? Is that the entry point? We got to ask someone.
Entry and exit, I think.
and the exit point, yeah.
Like us on Patreon and, become a Patreon subscriber. It's free. You might find yourself with a Megas bonus edition episode.
You might get into the world of Megas along with us. And it might be a deep world that we might need to explore further. So join us.
We are the Megas. We are the best.
We are the Megas. We are the Megas. We are the Godmen. Okay, like I think we both agree that's a very unique. Iceland is a very unique fall song, and that landscape brought out the best of them. And I could only hope that they would have gone back and re-tapped into that, because something was working there. For everything they recorded there was pretty much gold. So I think that was a good environment, even though they were missing some of their maybe comfort items that they might have thought helped.
Yeah, Their
That didn't.
crutches weren't as useful as they thought.
Yeah.
Less beer, more peach schnapps, and
A glass of peach schnapps every day. Yeah, some salted or some cured, open air cured shark, whale fat, whatever you eat there, and yeah, whatever it did, it worked perfectly. So let's head into the last track on of the hour, and it's the longest track.
And this day, settle in. 10 minutes here, folks.
So this is kind of a hard track to crack. And there are people that say this is their favorite fall song, and I gotta, I do believe them when they say that, but I also have to say that those are people that are truly trying to be Marky Smith by saying that this is their favorite song, because this is one that you probably just have to live with in order to get it. But so there's not much to say about this one besides everyone is just playing whatever they feel like. There's no set structure to it, so it is truly just a collage of sound and instruments and people's own thoughts and interpretations of what should be going on in this song, which is cool in concept, but it just comes off as 10 minutes of exactly that. So there's not much for me from my perspective to think about here critically. You just have to take it as it is. But I do have this good Marky Smith quote about this song that I think actually sums it up perfectly. And he said, "And this day, the thing that finishes off the LP and often finishes off a lot of audiences. Like everything's going great until we do and this day. And everyone's going to be like, stop, please." So I think that it's worthwhile. I think that's pretty much it. That's just for them. That's just, that is the fall. You're gonna get these pieces in there.
Just in case everyone didn't get to play all the notes and instruments they wanted, it's a free-for-all.
I like that he's self-aware. I think everyone in this band knows exactly what this is, right? And they're self-aware and saying, this is what it is. And actually, there's a Mark Riley quote too, where he says they played with the band The Birthday Party, Nick Cave's one of Nick Cave's first bands, and they played a show with them, and everyone was saying, "Oh, the Birthday Party are so wild. They're gonna fucking destroy the stage before the fall play, and the fall were playing after them." And they're like, "Oh man." And so the Birthday Party, I guess, put on a really good show, and they were just as visceral live as usual, flinging themselves around, Nick Cave flinging himself all over the stage. And then so the fall come out and they play "And This Day" for 25 minutes. And then and Mark Riley said that was, I think, one of the best performances of the fall, I think, of when I was in the band, and maybe ever, is us playing "And This Day" for 25 minutes to the audience after the Birthday Party. And he's like, and I don't think anyone's thought that the Birthday Party were better than the fall that day. That's Mark Riley's favorite, one of Mark Riley's favorite tracks. So there's something to it, but I understand why he likes it as a musician, is that's something where it's just captured in the moment and you weren't thinking about it. So it's not overly thought out. So it's always interesting for the musician themselves to listen to, because they're the ones that made it. But for me at this point, this is not my favorite. There's some good lines in there, but you gotta like sift them out with like, a little one of those pans you got to use to sift through the dirt to find the gold nugget. And this track was originally recorded. When it was recorded in the studio was 25 minutes long. They edited this thing down, and there are some edits in here that are not that clean. Okay, I love Steve Hanley, bass player, bass playing usually always, but I think if there was no bass, I think this would be a little bit more palatable. It's just this repetitive bass that's dun 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 dun. It's just it catches my ear where it's like this shouldn't be. There should be something else going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of different people trying to play through.
Maybe just the keyboard. Guitars are just being discordant. I think any sort of the rhythm that's trying to play a rhythm, the bass and the drums aren't, but they're just trying to put on top. But if they got rid of that, I think that might be a little bit more approachable.
Just total chaos. No.
No, structure. I say if you're going that route, just get no structure. Exactly. I think that some of the band members were like, maybe I need to have some sort of rhythm here, and I think that's maybe not the way. Maybe 10 minutes of just a pure soundscape would have been static, more like static.
That's some whistling. What is that? What is this high pitch?
Or is it a kazoo or is it whistling?
It's like
it sounds like a recorder.
Reach it.
I think they replaced the kazoo with the recorder for this track in the gear. I like the minute that the guitar starts somewhat. Whoever's playing the guitar, probably Craig Scanlon, starts getting somewhat into the same rhythm as the bass player, and then that's where they cut it. Like it's like, oh, you guys, we were starting to get together on a little bit of the feel of the groove, so let's cut it right there. All right, so there it is. There's your hour. There's your Hex Induction Hour. I hope you got hypnotized and got that curse placed on you, the curse of the fall. With that sound, and with Mark pouring that lager, the long draft, and before he drinks the long draft down, I think we should give this one a rating. What do you feel about the Hex Induction Hour?
I mean, overall, it covers just so many different sounds. Like, a lot of different songs that you're not used to hearing, which were enjoyable for me. I'll listen to this, pretty much any time. I'd be happy to play it.
Any season.
Cutting the grass, shoveling the snow, picking weeds, whatever. Just any of my outside chores.
Any yard related, outside garden activities. I think it is good. So what do you want to give it? Yeah, how many pints? I mean, how many pints do you need for the hour, for the hour experience?
An hour's a nice amount of time for you getting the bang for your buck for your album purchase here.
I know, I like that. It's going to be very thin sounding. You get that vinyl, it's going to be very thin sounding. They're cutting those grooves very tight, but you're getting an hour's worth of music on one LP. You're getting, like Mark said, this is for the working man or woman, and you're getting your money's worth here.
Don't have to go.
So you'll have some extra cash for some pints.
If it's not a prohibition. I'm going to go ahead and give this 7 pints and 2 shots of peach schnapps.
Okay, a little peach schnapps for the Icelandic fall heads out there, who hopefully can get some beer now. And I heard it's very expensive beer, but you can get beer there. So we will be doing a live show from Reykjavik in 2024. So we look forward to that. For my rating, I'm gonna go. The first half of this album is no bad songs. Perfect first half for me. As far as the fall are concerned, I'm giving it perfect 5 of 5. Let's give it 6 with the winter couple. Okay, let's give it 6 pints. For the second half, I'm gonna take 2 pints off just for the Who Makes the Nazis and This Day. But I'm gonna add 1 extra pint for Iceland because I think that's a very unique track for the fall, and it's something you very rarely get to experience from them. So I'm going to add 1 back. So I'm only taking 1 more off, and I'll add a half back. So I'm going to give it 8.5. 8.5 pints out of 10. And definitely excellent experience. Great hour spent.
Enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed yourself. Definitely, follow us, on whatever sort of social media you use. Find us on Patreon, get some bonus things. We appreciate you listening. Come back soon.
And until next time, we are the fall.
We are the best.